Hi everyone, it's Brad from MJB. It's just a quick what's in the shop video. It's the 29th of March, and you might have seen on my Instagram. This is the planetary out of a big dough mixer. The mixer's a BTL140. I think it's made in America. I'm not 100% sure. It's quite a large unit. I'll chuck a photo in, and it weighs probably 300 to 500 kilos, freestanding unit, and it had a major failure. The planetary drive locked up, and it's a planetary mixer, mainly used for dough, quite slow speed, but incredibly powerful, and this one takes 140 litres in the bowl, so it's quite a big lump. We picked this up on a Friday, I think, and we split it on the Saturday. And we quickly found that inside there'd been some serious gear failure. So luckily it's got 3 planetary gears, and they're made of Delrin. So they're sort of sacrificial gears. The ring gear, as you can see, which is quite a lump, cast iron, so that wasn't going to break. And the sun gear in the middle is obviously steel as well, so that wasn't going to break, so these had to give. Probably got a tool dropped in the bowl, or too much dough in the bowl, or too stiff a mix. So it's cracked that all the way through and sheared off 7 odd teeth. They're duplex gears, as you can see, so not going to be the cheapest things to replace. Damaged the other 2 as well. That's missing half a tooth. This one's missing 2 teeth. So we took these to a local engineering firm that do gear cutting. They're specialists in gear cutting. They give us a quote, £300 a gear, plus VAT, which is, considering the work that goes into them, the size of the material, not too bad. We got a quote from the manufacturer. The manufacturer come back to us yesterday, about £400 a gear, including VAT, plus VAT, sorry. But they are 2 weeks quicker, and so it's down to the customer. The customer's decided to buy the gears from the manufacturer, even though it's more expensive. So we got these gears back from the engineering firm, and I'll put a link to their company down below. Bingham Engineering, real precision stuff they do. So we're going to wait 1 to 2 weeks now for the parts to come in, and we can carry on with this mixer. But as you can see, it's a fairly lumpy piece of kit. It'll have all new bearings. We've still got to get this apart. This is the tool holder. So there's ball bearings in there that hold the tool in place. You pull it back, you can swap the tool out. This has got 2 flats milled on it. And for some reason they've opted for 45mm flats, which isn't a standard spanner size in any sort of system. And it doesn't really quite work out to an imperial size, and it's not a standard metric size of spanner size. We can buy a cheapy laser spanner to fit, but they're 45 quid, and I'd need 2 of them, and it's a bit dear for a one-off job, so I'm going to cut some on the plasma out of some 8mm plate, which should just about get in there. On that top flat is the one that's the most problematic, and allow us to undo that, because there's another bearing we need to change, and we can't change it until we get that off. So that's our next job. Cut these spanners out. I'll just make them in a standard sort of slogging spanner arrangement, and then we can get on with it. There is another option, and I have thought about it, and that's using a spanner on the lower and putting a piece of steel in there and using that to crank on. Could do that, but I really don't want to damage that. I'd rather damage them flats, because I can re-mill them to a more sensible size, like 1.5 inches or something like that, instead of odd size, because I have loads of big AF spanners, and I'm hoping that's a left-hand thread, but it could be a right-hand thread. It's always, in theory, it's a left-hand thread, so it should be like sort of a reverse thread, so that as the planetaries going round, it could only ever tighten itself up. But, you know, weirder things have happened. Could just have a ton of Loctite on it. Yeah, so that's that. That's where that mixer repair is. When I get the new bits, I will set up the GoPro and film the whole lot going back together. We've ordered the grease because it takes food grade grease, and I've run out. So I've ordered another 5 kilos of grease, which should be more than enough for this. And the bearings will come with all the gears. So just a waiting game. So if you've got me on Instagram, you've already seen these photos, so you can skip this part. That's the assembled planetary unit as lifted out of the gearbox. We used a forklift to lift it out because that weighs probably 120 kilos, that unit. This was the first op, pulling the top out off with just a 2-leg puller. That's a Sykes 8-ton puller. Second op, pulling the intermediate plate off, used a 3-leg and just some M12 studding. And then this is just a shot of the gears as I managed to get the plate off. You can see the bearings on top of the shafts there and the white food safe grease. So that's with that intermediate plate completely removed. Didn't get any more shots after that, but we pulled them gear units out with a slide hammer and some more M12 studding. So I'll bring you back for part 2 once we get the parts.